All right. I would like to call Budget and Appropriations to order at 6:45. I have one quick motion to bring in front of us tonight from the docket of January 19th, 2021. I move to authorize the school department to pay a previous year bill in the amount of $923.89 to Ford Motor Municipal Finance.
Second.
Thank you, Todd. Again, as we've been seeing, and obviously we're seeing a lot more of these this year than we have in the past, and a lot of that has to do, most of it has to do with the pandemic and when some of these bills come in. So this one was received after July 1st, as again, which is the start of the fiscal year. So anything that comes in after the start of the next fiscal year has to be approved by the council just in order to pay. It's not a transfer, it's just an authorization for payment. This one is, let's see, was approved to be sent to the council by the school committee on 12/17, and it's for a 2016 Ford Toyota Sienna minivan. Easy for me to say. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns on that?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 2-0. Thank you. Before I adjourn, Todd, I know we talked initially, well, not we, but we talked when I introduced a new business about the vehicle replacement program. I'm working on a few things behind the scenes. I'm probably going to call for a meeting, just an initial meeting on that. I think I'll do it on an off night if that works for you. I'm thinking maybe
Sure.
Wednesday at like 5:30 or 6. But
You mean tomorrow or a week from tomorrow?
a week from tomorrow. Week from tomorrow.
That's fine. Yep.
All right, perfect. I'll confirm with Virginia. And look, I just want to get an idea. And really, if we can adopt something the way that the police department has it, so we can just plan, right? So what I'm thinking, real basic. We don't need to overcomplicate this, but let's just get an idea of what we have out there. Department name, vehicle type, year, make, model, age, purchase date, the expected life on each vehicle, and then what's the plan for replacement. And if there isn't necessarily one, then we can start to come up and formulate something that makes sense. Ideally, I'd like to have this as close to completed at the earliest, by the time we address capital improvements, certainly by budget time.
Sounds good. Yeah, just let me know when.
All right, perfect. And I see Kathleen on there. I know she co-sponsored that with me, so I'm hoping that works for her, because I certainly want her input, and Vice President Jackson's. Councilor Blair, I'd be relying on your institutional knowledge as well as your understanding of mechanics and automobiles in general. All right. Well, that is all the business I have for budget and appropriations. Would like to call for an adjournment at 6:48.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:48.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Good evening, everybody. We're just waiting. I don't see Steve Withers on yet.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see you, Steve.
That's
How are
okay.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. All right. So with that said, we'll call this meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 7 p.m. Mr. Withers, would you kindly do a roll call attendance?
Yes, Mr. Blair,
Here.
Ms. DeSimone,
Here.
Mr. Conti,
Present.
Mr. Waterman,
Here.
Vice President Jackson,
Here.
Mr. Delicio,
Good evening, Steve.
Mr. Cobus,
Here.
Ms. Dolan,
Here.
Ms. Reynolds,
Here.
Ms. Holmes,
Present.
President Cooper.
Here.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes of June 16th, 2020, September 8th, 2020, September 15th, 2020, September 22nd, 2020, and December 1st, 2020.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll begin with Council Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. At this time, Mr. Withers, would you kindly read the notice of the first public hearing this evening?
Yes, we have a public hearing regarding a Class 2 application for a new car dealer, Trusted Auto, Inc. at 64 Pleasant Street with 5 customer spaces and 18 storage spaces.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? I believe that I noticed in the panelists there was, the applicant was on.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello. You could just identify yourself for the record, name and address?
Kenneth Arrington, Trusted Auto, 64 Pleasant Street, Attleboro, Mass.
Okay, Ken, it's Mark Cooper.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
I'm good. So just give the council, background on some information on your background and where you're going to be and what you intend to do at this location.
We're going to start selling used cars. I already have an automotive shop there. We've been there for a couple of years now with no issues. There's a lot of parking there in the corner, and as you can see on the plot plan, it's a big area. We have customer parking in the middle, and it's not an issue over there right now with the parking. So I'm trying to expand the business. The COVID hurt us. I'm obviously trying to just expand a little bit to keeping it green, and gonna just get some used cars and sell them.
All right. Ken, tell me where you are on Pleasant Street. Just orient the council as to the location.
It's right next to Subway. It's in it's 64 Pleasant. It's on the other side of Attleboro Ice and Oil,
Yep.
across from the Nostalgia Building.
Yep. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Arrington at this time from the council? Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. Hi, Ken. So I'm looking at the plot plan. So you're parking the cars like behind, because I don't see spaces in the plan. I just see like an area.
Yeah, that's
But-
basically storage. We have half the parking lot, so that's why we put it down for 5 parking. And then in the corner on the crosshatch area, that's all, I don't know if you call it display or storage. It's kind of the same thing. It's all visible.
Right. So for 18 cars.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yep.
it's in the way back. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, there's a big wall along the back there, and there's
Okay.
there's
Yeah, I see that. It just didn't, I have it on 2 pages, so I have to put them together to make a whole. So
Okay.
I might have some wording cut off. All
Okay,
right, thank you.
sorry.
That's all right. Oh, no, not your fault.
Any other questions for Mr. Arrington at this time from the council? All right, Ken, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks,
you.
take care. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone online, on the call to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? Anyone to speak neither for nor against? Okay, seeing none. Council Dolan, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
Thank you. That public hearing is closed. All right, we will move right along to the mayor's communication, and there are 3 of them. Just so you're all aware, there were 2. There was a number 2 and a number 3 that came down today. Steve, on the 2nd and the 3rd, you do not need to read them past the first paragraph.
Thank you very much. I was hoping you'd say that. January 19th, 2021. Dear municipal councilors, I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney regarding a grant that has been awarded via the 2021 Senator Charles E. Shannon Jr. Community Safety Initiative, or Shannon CSI, of $10,765.30. The Attleboro Police Department collaborated with the Taunton Police Department in seeking these funds through coordinated programs for prevention and intervention. No matching funds are required by the city. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body approve expending of such funds and any future grant amendments. Copies in your packets.
Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Clerk Stephen Withers regarding the need for funds in order to pay the dues to the Massachusetts City Clerks Association. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $25 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account clerk dues. Upon approval, the remaining balance in the Reserve Fund for transfer to include any pending requests will be $146,193.72.
Sorry about that. I was a little quick on the draw. Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Laura Abrams, 35 Cumberland Street, Attleboro, to an unexpired term on the Disability Commission, term to expire February 2023.
Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Public Works, Michael Tyler, regarding the need to replenish funds from an internal transfer in order to make repairs to the traffic lights at the North Main Street and Elizabeth Street intersection that were damaged during a high windstorm. Therefore, I request your honorable body transfer $9,000 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Professional Services. Upon approval, the available balance in Reserve Fund for transfer to include any pending requests will be $137,193.72.
Public Works Department, please.
As you are aware, the revenues received by CDA Inc. for 95 Pine Street do not cover the expenses. As such, there is a definite deficit, and I am requesting an appropriation of $22,000 to pay the recurring bills, and will amend the license agreement for 95 Pine Street to reflect these changes. The revenue that CDA Inc. receives for 95 Pine Street will be used to pay the salary of the maintenance groundskeeper and to have a reserve for emergency fixes. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $22,000 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Citywide Richardson School expenses. Upon approval, the available balance in Reserve Fund for transfer to include any pending requests will be $115,193.72.
City Property and Claims Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Michael Tyler, from Superintendent of Public Works, Michael Tyler, regarding the need for funds to have the state mandated inspections done at Farmers Pond Dam, Simmons Pond Dam, and Mechanics Dam. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $12,600 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Public Works Professional Services. Upon approval, the available balance in the Reserve Fund for transfer to include any pending requests will be $102,593.72.
Public Works Committee, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the following reappointments for the positions and for the terms as indicated. Hans Schaefer, Board of Park Commissioners for 5 years, expires February 2026. Leo Johnson, Board of Recreation Commissioners, 3 years, February 2024. Martha Conti, Board of Trust Fund Commissioners, 3 years, February 2024. Terrence McCrossin, Constable, 1 year, February 2022. Carol O'Connor, Council on Aging, 4 years, expires February 2025. Stephen Burdos, Council on Human Rights, 3 years, February 2024. John Jacoby, Municipal Building Commission, 3 years, February 2024. Terry DeSisto, Municipal Building Commission, 3 years, February 2024. Fred Uriat, Planning Board, 5 years, February 2026. And Richard Correa, Redevelopment Authority, 5 years, February 2026.
Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the following reappointments for the positions and for the terms as indicated. Laban O'Brien, Alternate Inspector of Wiring, 1 year, February 2022. Cynthia Amara, City Solicitor, 1 year, February 2022. Gary Arazian, Director of Planning and Development, 3 years, February 2024. Catherine Fierick, Director of Economic Development, 2 years, February 2023. Nicholas Wiley, Environmental Planner, 1 year, 2 years, February 2023. Scott LaChance, Forest Warden, 1 year, February 2022. Christopher Quinn, Health Office, 1 year, February 2022. Kyle Hegney, Lockup Keeper, 1 year, February 2022. Owen Bebo, Personnel Director, 3 years, February 2024. Thomas Hayes, Superintendent of Wastewater, 3 years, February 2024. Courtney Wunschel, Superintendent of Water, 3 years, February 2024. And Lewis Stevens, Zoo Director, 3 years, expires February 2024.
Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Thomas Mooring, 78 Lincoln Avenue, Attleboro, to fill an unexpired term on the planning board, term to expire February 2025.
Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney regarding the need for funds to replace the computer server at the police department. The server drives are failing and will be inoperable extremely soon. The server is 12 years old and has served beyond its useful lifespan. This server is crucial to the operation of the police department. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer of $15,508 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Police Computer Equipment. Upon approval, the available balance in Reserve Fund for transfer to include any pending requests will be $87,085.72. In accordance with Article 2, Section 2-9B of the City Charter of the City of Attleboro, I respectfully request your honorable body to consider this as an emergency measure.
Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Veteran Services, Ben Quell, regarding the donation of $125 in Stop and Shop gift cards from the Holiday Spirit Committee in accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro. I hereby request your honorable body to accept these generous donations to the City of Attleboro.
City Property and Claims Committee, please.
I respectfully recommend that the city accept a land donation from New England Power Company doing business as National Grid of 9.5 acres in the Chartley Brook watershed area at 0 Pike Avenue, plat number 205, lot number 3. The subject property with an assessed value of $106,900 will be donated to the Conservation Commission to achieve permanent protection of rare wildlife in the city. It should be noted that the real estate taxes are current through the end of the fiscal year 2021.
Zoning and Land Use Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from a health nurse, outreach worker, case manager, health department, outreach worker, case manager, Tisha Silva, and public health nurse, Jacqueline Joyle O'Brien, regarding the donation of $400 in Stop and Shop gift cards from the Holiday Spirit Committee. These cards will be offered by the health department's public health nurse and outreach worker to individuals and families in need. In accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to accept these generous gifts to the City of Attleboro.
City Property and Claims Committee, please.
Currently, the copy machine on the second floor of City Hall needs to be replaced. The copy machine is a 2007 and is used by multiple departments. The age of the machine is making it difficult to find parts for it to be repaired and in turn having increased downtime. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $4,820.73 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer, excuse me, to account Citywide Copiers. Upon approval, the available balance in Reserve Fund for transfer to include any pending requests will be $82,264.99.
City Property and Claims Committee, please. I can't read my own writing.
I respectfully submit a communication from Building Commissioner William McDonough requesting the reappointment of Brian Germain as the Inspector of Gas and Plumbing Appliances, Gas Piping and Gas Appliances, as well as Inspector of Plumbing for a term of 3 years, term to expire February 2024.
Personal Veterans and Human Services Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Budget and Administration, Jeremy Stowe, regarding the need to pay a fiscal year 20 invoice to Passport Labs, Inc. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body authorize payment of $956.02 from Off-Street Parking Revolving Fund Parking Professional Services. Copies in your packets.
Budget and Appropriations Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Planning and Development, Gary Arazian, and Environmental Planner, Nick Wiley, informing me that the Federal Emergency Management Agency's, or FEMA, Regional 1 Office has completed its review of the city's Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update and found that it meets the requirements of 44 CFR 201, pending adoption by your honorable body. Accordingly, at the request of the Director of Planning and Development and Environmental Planner, I hereby request your honorable body, your honorable municipal council, adopt the City of Attleboro's Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update pursuant to FEMA's finding and the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency's Competitive Council's consideration, which contains the requisite language. After the municipal council votes to adopt the MEMA, hang on a minute, lost my place, sorry. After the municipal council votes to adopt the plan, the adoption document, as well as any additional requisite documentation, will be submitted to MENA. After MEMA receives the adoption documentation, it will issue a formal approval letter to the city. I will, of course, notify your honorable body when we receive the formal approval letter. The plan may be found on the city's website under Planning Development. And it's a City of Attleboro, a resolution adopted.
You don't have to read that. You can wait.
Okay.
I'll read the reading of the resolution, and that's going to go to the Zoning and Land Use Committee.
Okay. Sincerely, Paul Heroux, Mayor.
Thank you.
All
Okay.
right, now, number 2, dear municipal councilors, January 19th, 2021. I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Water, Courtney Winchell, regarding the need for ordinance changes and to increase fees charged by the Water Department. City Solicitor Cynthia Amara reviewed the changes to the ordinances of the City of Attleboro and approved them as to form.
Thank you. Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee. And Councilor Holmes, would you like to do the public hearing on this matter on February 16th?
Thank you. Yes.
All right, we need a roll call vote?
A roll call vote, and I believe with Councilor Blair?
Yes, I believe you're correct. All right, Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delisio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We will have
Okay.
a public hearing on February 16th. And Council Holmes, just on both of these, make sure we reach out to the department head to let them know that it's the 16th.
Okay.
Okay, January 19th, 2021, number 3. Dear municipal councilors, I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Wastewater Thomas Hayes regarding the need for ordinance changes and to increase fees charged by the wastewater department. City Solicitor Cynthia Amara reviewed the changes to the ordinances of the City of Attleboro and approved them as to form.
Thank you. Again, Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee, please. And Council Holmes, would you like to have a public hearing on this matter as well on February 16th?
Please.
Thank you. A roll call vote will begin with Council Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delisio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We will have a public hearing on that matter as well on February 16th.
Yoke.
And we will move right along to the clerk's communications, please.
Okay. Attleboro City Clerk Communication, January 19th, 2021. A new Class 2 license application from Matthew Borgelis, doing business as New England NE Autos, Inc. at 71 County Street, with 6 customer and 40 display spaces.
Licenses. And Councilor Dolan, would you like to have a public hearing on February 16th?
Yes, please.
Thank you. A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
yes,
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, we also received a communication from Edward Bailey of Attleboro with questions on the tax breaks for potential new downtown businesses.
Thank you. That's going to be referred to Capital Improvements Committee and to the administration as well.
Okay. A correction on the certificate of vote from January 5th, 2021. Due to a Scrivener's error, the correct Class 2 license that was voted was from Seacon Gas and Repair, Inc., doing business as 123 Mobile, with 4 customer parking spaces and 9 storage spaces. The certificate of vote reflected a Class 2 license for South Attleboro Auto Sales, Inc., with 10 customer parking spaces and 30 display spaces. That's just an FYI.
Thank you.
And that's
Copy
it.
of all councilors. Thank you. And at this time, I'd entertain a motion to enter committee of the whole.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any questions? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Council Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
yes,
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
and Mr. Blair,
Yes.
and President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are now in committee of the whole. If there's anyone online that would like to address the council on any matter of city business, now is the time to do so. I don't hear anybody. All right. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to arise.
Second.
A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
yes,
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are now going to, move on to committee reports, starting with Councilor Blair.
Good evening, everybody. From the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to transfer $9,945.87 from account 1220100-558204 Fire Department Firefighting Supplies to account 1222000-585020 Fire Department Fire Safety Equipment to pay for fire equipment related to a capital project fund.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
We went over this in committee meetings last week, but just an update. That's the added equipment to properly outfit a new fire truck that's on its way, I believe.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes, I believe.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
yes,
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to transfer 25,000 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account 1124100-599300 Citywide transfer to Capital Fund, and to further transfer the 25,000 from account 1124100-599300 Citywide transfer to Capital Funds to Fund 3558-499000 Fire Department roofs, other financing sources for the costs associated with the roofs at the Briggs Corner and Union Street fire stations.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments?
Just that this is basically hire a consultant to engineer to go over the roof construction to make sure we don't run into a problem when we put it out for bids.
Okay, any additional comments, questions? Seeing none, a roll call will begin with Council Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Ms. Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
yes,
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes,
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. I have one more, an emergency preamble, emergency measure. I move to adopt the following emergency preamble, that the Attleboro Municipal Council vote to take action as provided in the city charter, section 2-9B, regarding the emergency which presently exists relative to the computer server at the police department. The server drivers are failing and will be inoperable in the immediate future. Due to the time constraints, it is necessary to take action without waiting the prescribed time per the charter.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments, Council Blair?
I talked both to Bill Lennox and the chief of police this week. The server is 12 years old. It served its purpose, and thanks to Bill Lennox and his miraculous work, he got the police department up and running, not to capacity, but so they can stay in business over there, and I thank him for that. After 12 years, I would assume that we saved enough money in paper to pay for this new piece of equipment. But it's needed to run the police department so they can get to their files, and they've gone paperless over there just about. So without the server, they're in trouble.
Thank you. Any additional comments on the emergency preamble? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Cobus's hand up.
I was just going to make a quick comment that it's crazy that we would try to expect spindle hard drives to last 12 years, and we should have a better system in place for that. But that's regardless, this needs to be we're talking about the emergency measure first. So
Thank you. A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Mr. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Mr. Waterman,
yes,
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. DeLucio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
yes,
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. On to the motion.
From the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $15,508 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1210100 585140 police computer equipment to attend to the emergency at the police department regarding the failing server.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments or questions, Councilor Blair?
No, I don't have any further comment.
Any other, Councilor Delicio and then Cobus? Hey, Todd, move your camera a little bit that way. I can't see your hand.
Thank you, President Cooper. So, first of all, I agree with Councilor Cobus's earlier comments, and kudos to Bill Lennox for being able to do some patchwork to get this together. The reality is tech has changed. Tech needs have changed. How we use tech has changed, especially over the course of this last year. And I think that Bill does a great job. And I think that, we have a lot of studies in the city, studies for indirect rates, studies for management. I'd like to see a study or a plan to ensure that we have the right pieces of technology in place, that we're set up for the change in technologies going forward, the need and the usage of technology, because this could have been a disaster if this really went down. Could have been a public safety nightmare. It's 2021, and more so than I think any other time in our history, we rely on technology more and more. We rely on IT more and more. So with that being said, I support this as an emergency, and I gladly support this measure. Thank you, President Cooper.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus.
So with this particular item, there's no excuse for having spindle drive, like hard drives, expected to last for 12 years. That's we shouldn't be in this predicament. And so to second Jay's point, I think a broader study is definitely needed for the city. That's all.
Thank you. Councilor Conti, did I see your hand?
No, sir. I support this measure 100%.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Councilor Delicio.
Sorry, President Cooper. So earlier this evening, after reading this, I sent an email for a piece of new business for 2 weeks from now to yourself and Virginia. And based on Councilor Cobus's, we're on the same committee, especially this one, we can't talk about it. But if there's an opportunity for him to co-sponsor, if Virginia could send that to him if you'd like to.
Great. Thank you. Any additional comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Absolutely, yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no other business to bring forward this evening. We'll request a committee meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor DeSimone.
Yes, thank you, President Cooper. Transportation and Traffic has no business to report, but we look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate and scheduled time.
Thank you. Councilor Conti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reporting for Capital Improvements and City Development Committee, I have one measure to bring before the council this evening from the docket of January 19th, 2021. I move to authorize the following resolution from the mayor to enter a TIE agreement with 54 Union LLC pursuant to Massachusetts General Law 40V, Section 4, Paragraph B, Subparagraph I, and Massachusetts General Law Chapter 59, Section 5M. It is a Attleboro Municipal Council resolution, which I read in full at our committee meeting.
Yes, thank you.
A second, I guess. Yeah. Second.
Thank you. Is there any additional comments, Councilor Conti?
Mr. President, this tax incentive exemption for the taxpayers who've never heard of one before it's only applied to redevelopment where market rent apartments are being constructed. And this agreement follows a state program whereby if the city doesn't contribute a portion of the assistance, the state doesn't provide its assistance and the developers never redevelop the property. So I heartily encourage my fellow councilors to vote in positive, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Councilor Conti, would you just give the same Reader's Digest that you just gave on the role of the Economic Development Incentive Board in this vote and in this process, just so everyone understands how these are vetted through that process?
I'd be happy to. The Economic Development Incentive Board consists of the Economic Development Director, the Mayor, the City Assessor, the Municipal Council President, and the Chair of the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee. And they vet the proposals from developers who are seeking to make improvements inside the city and negotiate to some degree the final result that is presented to the municipal council. The Economic Development Incentive Board relies on people's experience in real estate, in finance, in economic development, and in local knowledge of what's going on in the city. So the Economic Development Incentive Board doesn't always agree on everything, and it's a healthy, worthwhile board that pays a lot of attention to the detail before it comes to the council. And I hope that is sufficient.
Yes, thank you for that. Any additional questions, Councilor DeSimone and then Dolan?
Thank you, President Cooper. So being unfamiliar with these tax increment exemptions, I want to first appreciate Catherine Farrick's presentation last week and indeed her hard work. I agree with the idea that downtown revitalization begins, in fact, with people first and then businesses. But having said that, just for my own edification, I reached out to Catherine subsequent to last week's committee meeting. Because as a taxpayer, you know, when you hear that a developer is getting a tax break, particularly in these times, it can kind of rub some people the wrong way, and I appreciate that. So I wanted to assure myself and do my due diligence that this was in fact the appropriate and right decision to make. And Catherine provided some very valuable information. And I basically think that this project is indeed necessary, and were it not to happen, I don't know what that spot would become or how long it would sit, perhaps vacant and undeveloped. So as much as I appreciate public sentiment on occasion against these types of agreements, I think it's important that we welcome and support businesses that do this kind of work. It's so important to our downtown. So for those reasons, and from what I've learned from Catherine about this agreement, the terms of which are basically outlined in her presentation, that they should not change in any substantial way, the terms or the length of the deal, I feel much better about voting in favor. And I think it's key, and hopefully it's the beginning of bringing many, many more people to the downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. First, I agree with everything Councilor DeSimone just said. You know, it required a little research, and because you feel that way, I've had people reach out to me and they're like, you know, why developers getting a break when, you know, our taxes and COVID and jobs. And so I agree with all that. And I also feel that if not them, then what would this building be? Would it just sit there? I don't know. But I just had a quick question about the board, Councilor Conti or President Cooper. So do you, just out of curiosity, do you all like come to a consensus on when you discuss this? So is it like a majority, or like, I'm just curious.
It's a vote.
It's a vote. So like, is it majority and type thing? I'm just curious.
And Richard, I don't remember actually for the actual vote on this. I was not present, but the meetings leading up to it, I was updated quite frequently along the way on emails. But Richard, I don't remember what the vote was, but
It was a roll call vote and it was a majority rule. But in the vote for this particular case, the vote was unanimous.
Yeah, and which is, that's fine. I didn't need to know, you know, if anybody was a no or a yes. I was just curious of how it worked. You know, you guys hashed it out and did everything. That's neat. I wasn't aware who was on that board. Thanks.
you're welcome. I think the other thing that we, Richard, you won't like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You might like it. The role that Councilor Conti played in his day job to help his night job and present some of the information in a way that we could, I don't do this every day, could understand in terms of how Julie was coming up. There's formulas, there's Excel spreadsheets, and there's a lot of information that's required in order for these things to be granted. And Richard, thank you for sharing your day expertise with the crew at night that maybe didn't have the same level of expertise or understanding. Thank you. Councilor Conti.
So at this time, I feel it's appropriate for me to give kudos to City Assessor Julie Hobson, because that was a heavy lift for any assessor to do this job. And we worked together on it, and she came through in flying colors. And I've complimented her in front of the board, and I'm happy to compliment her in front of the City Council. As an assessor, I have no hesitation in telling you I'm proud of the Attleboro City Assessor. I think she's doing a wonderful job. She's a brilliant lady. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the business that the Capital Improvement City Development Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Waterman.
Yes. Reporting from the docket of January 19th, 2021 for the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. I would move to accept the donation to the Veterans Office of $295 in Stop and Shop gift cards from the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution, DAR, Attleboro chapter.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments or questions?
No, except to say that it's a very generous gift.
Thank you. Any additional from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And also from the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to accept the donation to the Veterans Office regarding the donation of $250 in Market Basket gift cards from the Holiday Spirit Committee.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments?
No, also very generous.
Thank you. Seeing no additional comments, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And finally, also from the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to accept a donation of 250 marketing flyers to the Attleboro Council on Human Rights with a value of $120.65 from Taryn McCarthy of Moo Inc.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments?
This will simply be another way for the Council on Human Rights in Attleboro to market ourselves and to share who we are. And thank you for this gift.
Thank you. Any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
11 yeas, Mr. President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that concludes the business of the Attleboro Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. We'll meet at the next appropriate time.
Great. Thank you. Vice President Jackson.
Thank you, President Cooper. Public Works Committee, from the docket of April 7th, 2020, I move to rescind 3-320 request for a new F-150 for the Water Department.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Motion's in order. Vice President Jackson.
We've already taken care of a new truck for the Water Department, so this is just to rescind the vote.
Thank you. A roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Council Holmes.
It's Mr. Blair, I think.
Oh, there you go, Mr. Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you.
Thank you. From the docket of April 7th, 2020, I move to declare surplus and available for disposition the following Water Department vehicles. 2003 Ford F-350 utility, the VIN number, the miles, and the condition last week in committee, and then a 2007 Ford F-150 pickup truck.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments, Vice President Jackson?
Nope, these are definitely in very poor condition.
A roll call vote will begin with Council Holmes.
Holmes,
Sorry, yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yeah.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. And just one, something I just want to remind the public that next week is that amnesty week that the mayor had talked about and worked out with Waste Management, in case not everybody knows that. Next week, they'll pick up your small bulk items, but you only have until Thursday to call Waste Management. The list of what you can put out is on the website in the health department. If you really have to look for it, so you just have to plug in rubbish and it'll pop up. But it gives you an itemized list of the small bulk items. You have to call there by Thursday. And you also have to give them the list of what you're only allowed to do 4. So you have to describe to them what you're leaving out. So just reminding the public of that, because I did actually speak with a couple of my neighbors this past week and they're like, oh my gosh, that's going on. I'm like, yeah. So just a shout out for that. With that, I have no further business for the Public Works Committee, but I would like to call for a committee meeting at the appropriate time next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Delissio.
Thank you, President Cooper. Reporting for budget and appropriations from the docket of January 19th, 2021. I move to authorize the school department to pay a previous year bill in the amount of $923.89 to Ford Motor Municipal Finance.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments or questions?
Just real briefly, President Cooper, given the pandemic, we're seeing more and more of these bills received after the fiscal year ended. So we're paying previous year's fiscal bills. This one was approved by the school committee on December 17th. This is for a 2016 Ford, actually a 2016 Toyota Sienna minivan.
Great. Thank you. Any additional questions? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, President Cooper. Before I adjourn, I just want to actually take this time to call for 2 committee meetings, one for next Tuesday at the regular time, but also one for next Wednesday at 6 p.m. to discuss some of the items that are in the committee. Most notably the vehicle replacement and maintenance program that Vice President Jackson, Councilor DeSimone, and I introduced, I think, back in October.
Okay,
That would be for 127 at 6 p.m. And that being said, there's no more business for budget and appropriations. Thank you.
thank you. Councilor Cobus.
Thank you. Reporting for Zoning and Land Use Committee. From the docket of January 5th, 2021, I move to approve the following. To lay out a portion of Nicholas Drive, length of 731.11 feet from Station 0 to Station 7 plus 73.11 as a public way and accept said way in any related drainage, water, or sewer facilities or easements, all as shown on a plan and profile entitled Acceptance Plan, Nicholas Drive, Attleboro, Mass, dated May 31st, 2019, prepared by Charles T. Camp, RLS, and John C. Spink, PE, which plan and profile have been deemed satisfactory to the Superintendent of Public Works.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments, Councilor Cobus?
We've talked about this over the last 2 weeks and had Gary Arazian in and the DPW supervisor in to talk about it. At this point, I encourage people to support it. Not doing so would do a disservice to the residents in that area.
Thank you. Any additional comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yeah,
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And from the docket of January 5th, 2021, I move to approve the following. To lay out a portion of Oak Hill Meadows Way, length of 381.41 feet from Station 0 to Station 3 plus 81.41 as a public way and accept said way in any related drainage, water, or sewer facilities or easements, all as shown on a plan and profile entitled Acceptance Plan Oak Hill Meadows Way, Attleboro, Massachusetts, dated May 31st, 2019, prepared by Charles T. Camp, RLS, and John C. Spink, PE, which plan and profile have been deemed satisfactory to the Superintendent of Public Works.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments, Councilor Cobus?
Same as before, we've talked about this and encourage people to support it.
Any additional comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
yes,
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That concludes the business for the Zoning and Land Use Committee, and I call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
You, Councilor Dolan is next. Yep.
thank you. I have two motions this evening from the Licenses Committee from the docket of January 19th, 2021. I entertain a motion to approve the automatic amusement devices license application from Chuck E. Cheese, number 467 at 287 Washington Street with 64 skill, kiddie ride, and video games.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
No comments. We went over it in committee.
Great. Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes,
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
from the docket of January 5th, 2021. I move to approve the Class 2 license for South Attleboro Auto Sales, Inc. at 411 Washington Street with 10 customer parking spaces and 30 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments, Councilor Dolan?
Not really. This is the one that they don't have any cars there right now that we discussed, but he does want to maintain his license and he will be adding vehicles.
Okay, thank you. Any additional comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
And that's all the business I have for the licenses committee, and I'd like to call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time, please.
Thank you. Councilor Reynolds.
Thank you. Reporting for City Property and Claims Committee, I have, oh goodness, 7 things this evening. From the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to approve a 36-month lease agreement for 5 copiers from Conica Minolta for the school department.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments?
No, I have none.
Thank you. Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to declare the following water department vehicle as surplus and available for disposition. A 2004 Ford Ranger. It's got 145,000 miles on it, and it's in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional questions or comments?
No, I have none.
Thank you. A roll call vote is required and we'll begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to declare the following police department vehicles as surplus and available for disposition. The 2013 Ford Explorer SUV, it's got 104,911 miles. It's in poor condition. A 2010 Dodge Charger, it's got 99,777 miles on it, and it also is in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. A roll call vote is required. We'll begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
The docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to accept the donation to the Council on Aging of $50 in Visa gift cards and $275 from the Holiday Spirit Committee.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments or questions?
I have none.
Thank you. A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
I entertain, from the docket of January 19th, 2021, I entertain a motion to accept the donation to the Health Department of $300 in Market Basket gift cards and a $50 Visa gift cards from the Holiday Spirit Committee.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Council Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to accept the donation of $356.40 in school supplies donated by Walmart to Coelho Middle School.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Council Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
On the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to accept the donation of 5 trees to the city from the Walsh Perry Partnership.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
I do not have any.
Thank you. Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Council Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That is all the Business, City Property Improvements Committee has this evening, but I would like to call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Great. Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. Ordinance, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee has no business this evening, but will call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Excellent. Thank you. There is one item of old business, and for that, I would recognize Councilor Conti.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
From the docket of January 19th, 2021, I move to rescind vote from January 5th, 2021, calling for a public hearing regarding the need for authorization for a proposed tax increment exemption TIE agreement. The proposed resolution does not require a public hearing.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments, Councilor Conti?
Yes, Mr. President, this is the first time the city of Taunton, city of Attleboro, it's easy to make that mistake, has entered into a TIE agreement in recent memory. In fact, I don't think it's ever happened before. And we were uncertain, so just to be safe, we called for a public hearing and we didn't need one. So this takes care of the paperwork and makes us legal. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Seeing none, a roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. And there is no new business this evening. Before we adjourn, just a couple of quick housekeeping things. The policy plan still needs to be signed. Only 6 have signed it,
I
so
don't know how to get rid of this.
we don't want to get into
9 tomorrow.
go in after hours or on the weekend.
What you do?
And
Okay.
you
Thank
can
you.
do that. Also, please make sure you're responding to Virginia's emails that are all bold, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Don't expect that at 5 o'clock on Tuesday, we're going to be able to fix something. We've got to stay on top of what we got to stay on top of. So please make sure that your minutes, your committee minutes are sent in. If you don't want to go in, stick them in an envelope and leave them for her on the weekend. She is working sort of a hybrid schedule, so she may not be in the office, but please leave your committee minutes, your motions, etc. for Virginia, and respond to the emails, because from this moment forward, lack of response means you're okay with it, because we can't be chasing 11 people finding out whether they're okay with their motions and what's coming before the council. So If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me directly, but we just got to get back on top of doing that. We were good at it for a period of time, and it's sort of gone away. I think with the closure of City Hall, we forgot what those requirements were. So just please make sure you're getting that done. And with that said, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any questions or comments? A roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. We are adjourned 8:05. Thank you all. Have a good
Good
night.
night. See you next week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.